It is the worst holiday by far for some coaches and GMs in the NFL, that holiday known as Black Monday. The day after the regular season comes to a close, you get reports and announcements of firings happening across the league. Of course, it doesn't all go down on Black Monday. Some of them you get mid-season. We got that this year. Robert Saleh with the Jets, Dennis Allen with the Saints, and Matt Eberflus of the Chicago Bears. That's on the coaching side. We also had general manager Joe Douglas of the Jets also getting fired mid-season. Now here today on Black Monday, the firings have piled on. Doug Peterson was let go today by the Jacksonville Jaguars. No surprise there. He got hired in 2022, and Peterson was supposed to be the mastermind to move this franchise in the right direction. Preferably, obviously, a contending team with franchise quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Going back to his days in Philadelphia, former head coach for the Eagles, he led the Eagles, Doug Peterson, to their first and so far only Super Bowl title, with Nick Foles, backup quarterback Nick Foles, starting in place of the injured Carson Wentz. So with that type of resume, obviously he's going to have similar success with Trevor Lawrence, but that just did not happen. Though the first year was promising. They won the AFC South title and won a playoff game in 2022. And that turned out to be the peak of the Doug Peterson era. They duplicated the same 9-8 record the following year, but unfortunately, that wasn't enough to win the division for a second straight season. That title went to the Houston Texans off the stellar performance of their then rookie quarterback, CJ Stroud. And for 2024, the Jags finished with a 4-13 record. And while Trevor Lawrence did miss 7 games on the year, in the 10 games he played, the Jags went 2-8. The Peterson-Lawrence pairing just didn't mesh well, and it would certainly be quite silly to put all the blame on the former head coach. Trevor Lawrence, as a starting quarterback relative to what you want to see from a starting quarterback, he's been okay-ish, but has certainly regressed the last 2 years and has certainly not lived up to the generational quarterback prospect label. With that being the goal, trying to get Trevor Lawrence to reach that mark, it would make all the sense in the world for the Jags to be all in on hiring offensive coordinator of the Detroit Lions, Ben Johnson, to be their next head coach. Considering how he's helped transform Jared Goff from a castaway with the Rams and a not-so-great first year in Detroit after the trade to now one of the best quarterbacks in football. It makes perfect sense for Ben Johnson to be number one on your list if you're Jacksonville. Of course, you could also make the case for that argument for any team looking for a head coach, because Ben Johnson is the hot ticket item in this coaching cycle. And yet, for the Jaguars, it's not that simple. You want to fire Doug Peterson? Fine. How do you not also fire Trent Baalke? Firing only Doug Peterson won't make much of a difference unless you also fire the GM. The Jags, during the still evidently current Trent Baalke era, in 4 seasons are 25-43, one of the worst teams in the league. And now he gets to also be in charge of hiring the third head coach under his leadership. Doug Peterson's shortcomings and the Urban Meyer saga are just 2 microcosms under Trent Baalke. Add in the tumultuous relationship he reportedly had in San Francisco with former head coach Jim Harbaugh while Baalke was the Niners GM. Who's to say that Ben Johnson or any of the coveted names in this coaching cycle will want to come to Jacksonville as long as Baalke is in charge? A clean house approach seems to be the best approach to take. However, Jaguars owner Shad Khan seems to think otherwise, saying, quote, "I strongly believe it is possible next season to restore the winning environment we had here not long ago." It was actually a while ago, but whatever. "I will collaborate with general manager Trent Baalke and others within and close to our organization to hire a leader who shares my ambition and is ready to seize the extraordinary opportunity we will offer in Jacksonville." And while firing the head coach should suggest a new day is coming, unfortunately, it appears with having a stubborn owner who doesn't seem to know or doesn't give a damn, won't even acknowledge what is evidently a toxic general manager for Jaguars fans for the foreseeable future, it seems like it's going to be more of the same. Elsewhere around the league on this Black Monday, the Patriots have fired head coach Jerod Mayo. Let's set the scene here. Jerod Mayo is a New England Patriot through and through. The man spent all 8 seasons of his NFL playing career playing for the New England Patriots. He also spent 5 years with the Patriots as a linebackers coach before ultimately becoming the head coach of the Pats this past 2024 season. And after 1 year, he's gone. This floored me. I didn't see this coming at all. It doesn't make any sense just because of how the Patriots, through media relations, propped this guy up last offseason after firing Bill Belichick. Jerod Mayo, this is our guy. We have groomed him and we believe in this guy, not just for the now, but also the future. Saying, quote, this is literally from Robert Kraft, saying, quote, I've learned to trust my instincts throughout my career, and I trust Jerod is the right person to lead the Patriots back to championship level contention and long-term success. And after all that unprompted ass kissing and selling to the public that you did on Jerod Mayo, that was you doing it, not us, you give him just 1 season in a full rebuild mode? This is going to take more than a year. This is going to be a long-term thing. You just drafted your new franchise quarterback with the 3rd overall pick, 4-13. That's about what you can expect for a rebuilding team to have, which is what they ended up finishing in 2024. By the way, that's the same exact record that you had in 2023 with Bill Belichick, arguably the greatest coach of all time. What were you expecting, Robert Kraft, for his first year as a head coach? Were you expecting the Pats to go 12-5 and compete with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East? This man went back on his word. To give a first-year head coach 1 year in a full-on rebuild mode is nasty work. And add on top of that, reportedly what you did last year after firing or mutually coming to an agreement to part ways from Bill Belichick, he now is no longer part of your business. He can do whatever it is that he wants to do. Reportedly, while he was interviewing with the Atlanta Falcons, you went to the Falcons organization to tell them, hey, don't trust Bill. Well, I counter that, Robert Kraft, by asking, who should trust you? Sorry, but not sorry. Robert Kraft, you're a coward. You're a snake. You say all the right things in the media, boosting up people. Bill Belichick, we love this guy. Or Jerod Mayo, he's the future of this franchise. And you go behind their backs to sabotage everything that you built up for them? Nasty work. You're a fraud. You're an absolute clown. And lastly, so far on this Black Monday, Lou Anarumo, Bengals defensive coordinator, has also been fired. And it makes sense. You wasted one of the all-time single-season performances by a quarterback in Joe Burrow. Burrow this year, number 1 in passing yards, completions, and passing touchdowns. Jamar Chase with the Triple Crown. That to me sounds like a top 2 seed in the AFC. But it didn't work out that way. Not even close. They missed the playoffs altogether, primarily because of that defense. Outside of Trey Hendrickson, they had nothing to show for it. The Bengals defense this year, 25th in yards allowed, 25th in points allowed. Anarumo had been with Cincinnati for 6 years, but back-to-back seasons with one of the worst defenses. Talked about how bad they were this year. Last year, second worst defense. 7 of their 8 losses were within 1 score. Russell Wilson threw for over 400 yards. That was his best game of the year by far against that Bengals defense. 2 games, the Bengals scored exactly 38 points this year. 2 games. If you score 38 points in this league, that's an automatic W. What? And instead, the Bengals, because of that defense, they lost both of those games. The Bengals, they made a nice run at the end, and we were all rooting for them to get that final spot in the AFC playoffs, but it didn't come to fruition. It was too little, too late. Now we have to see Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos, and in fairness to Bo Nix, he's been pretty good this year. It's just my anti-Bo Nix agenda is coming back to bite me in the ass. But hopefully this is the start for better things to come in the future for this Bengals franchise.